What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to go over our betting odds for Week 9 in the NFL. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, over 85% of you are still not subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications, as it will help us create more daily content for you. Thank you and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, week 9 is upon us, and tonight we start off with Thursday Night Football. As always, we are going to continue with this segment going over the betting odds, as we have gotten into betting ourselves, making some decent amount of money, and I hope you guys are doing the same. So be sure to follow our betting advice. Let us know in the comments down below whether you make some bets based on our advice. Let us know how it goes for you, and always be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. All right, Nick, why don't you get us started? Thursday Night Football, Jets at the Colts.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. Mike White making his second start, and he looked great in his first. Is he going to push the Colts like the Tennessee Titans pushed the Colts last week? I don't think so. I actually think the Colts are going to come out on top. I like them in this game, but I'm not taking them at their 10.5 spread. I'm taking them at their money line. I think that's the safest option for this matchup.
Yeah, this one scares me a little bit just because I've seen what Mike White can do on a football field, throwing for over 400 yards, and that cannot go unnoticed. I'd be surprised about the Jets, but nonetheless, our next matchup, the first game on the 1 o'clock slate on Sunday, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Bills open up as 14.5-point favorites with an over-under set at 48.5. 14.5 is a lot to swallow, but when you're playing a college football team, it looks pretty easy. And at this point in time, the Buffalo Bills are a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense in the NFL. The Jaguars are bottom 5 in both of those areas. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills at minus 14.5, and I'm not looking back.
Next up, we have the New England Patriots taking on the Carolina Panthers. The Patriots are 3.5-point favorites with an over-under of 41. This is going to be an absolute slobber knocker for the New England Patriots. It's just really, how many points are the Carolina Panthers going to put up? I don't expect much scoring out of this game overall, but I know the Patriots will come out on top, and I do believe that they will cover the spread. I'll take them at their minus 3.5.
Next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Baltimore Ravens in what should be a very high-scoring, high-octane matchup. We see the Vikings, who struggled against the Cooper Rush-led Dallas Cowboys, now taking on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are 6-point favorites with an over-under set at 50. I'm actually taking the Ravens at minus 6 here. I think they're going to be able to put up an immense amount of points. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this Minnesota Vikings team. The defense is in shambles right now. We haven't seen Kirk Cousins really get going yet. That there's a lot that the Minnesota Vikings have to work through, and if they struggled that much against the Dallas Cowboys defense, I can only imagine what they're going to be able to do against the Baltimore Ravens defense. I think the Ravens will be able to cover at minus 6, and I think that they're going to take this game pretty easily.
Next up, we have the Denver Broncos making their way to Dallas, taking on the Cowboys, where the Cowboys are 9-point favorite with an over-under of 49.5 points. The Dallas Cowboys should have an easy victory in this one, but can you take them at their minus 9? I don't know. I think I'm going to play it a little bit safe in this one. I think I'm even going to stay away from the total points. I'm going to take the Cowboys at their money line.
Next up, we see an intra-divisional matchup with the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints finding out this week that Michael Thomas will not be returning from his season-long injury. He will not be coming off the PUP list, and they have lost Jameis Winston for the season, as they now have to figure out who's next up at quarterback. Is it Taysom Hill? Is it Trevor Siemian? Maybe even Phillip Rivers? There's a lot of questions here for the New Orleans Saints. Right now, they're 6-point favorites over the Atlanta Falcons with an over-under set at 42. I do not like this game whatsoever. I don't know what to expect. Taysom Hill is coming back from his injury. What we're seeing that, the New Orleans Saints defense is really good, but Is their offense going to be able to put up points? What can they do? They still have Alvin Kamara. The Atlanta Falcons are missing some pieces. No Calvin Ridley there. I really don't like this at all. I'm going to stay away from this game. I think this is the one where I have to just put my foot down and say, I don't like this one, and I'm staying away as far as I can.
Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns making their way to their division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 2.5-point favorites with a total over-under of 46.5. I think that the Bengals are the stronger team with the situation around Odell Beckham Jr., Kareem Hunt being on IR, Baker Mayfield dealing with all these injuries. I just think that the offense is completely stagnant. Even with Nick Chubb, they're not utilizing him properly, and they're suffering for it. The offense is unable to do anything. The defense doesn't have the momentum to keep up anymore, and I think that the Bengals are ready to bounce back after that horrific loss to the New York Jets. At 2.5 points, I'm definitely safe taking the Bengals.
Next up, we see the Las Vegas Raiders heading to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Giants. The Raiders dealing with the loss of Henry Ruggs and obviously being released for his terrible crimes, by the way, but they are dealing with that as a team. They are dealing with so much right now. Going on the road to New York to take on the Giants, who almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders come in as 3-point favorites. This is a toss-up to me, and honestly, I'm taking the Giants at +3. I think that the Giants can score with them, and I believe that the Raiders are just reeling. I mean, they are not focusing on football right now. How can you, in a situation like this where one of your brothers, one of your teammates, hit and killed a 23-year-old woman and a dog, by the way, and is now facing prison time? I mean, there's got to be a lot of thought in that locker room. There's no way they can fully focus on this game going across the country for a 1 o'clock game. I'm taking the Giants +3. I feel pretty safe about that.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you feel safe about that with Saquon on the COVID list, Kenny Golladay and Sterling Shepard probably not playing, and who knows about Kadarius Toney? You're really left with Darius Slayton, so you really think that they can cover with +3?
Yeah, no, I do. And I believe that Sterling Shepard is going to be able to play in this one. I don't think Kenny Golladay will be back. But at the end of the day, the Giants were able to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't see many differences with the Las Vegas Raiders and Chiefs when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to put up the points that the Chiefs did. I like the Giants here.
All right. Next up, we have the Houston Texans making their way to the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins are 6.5-point favorites. That's pretty surprising, seeing as that they're 1-7. But total points is 46.5 yet again. And look, I kind of agree the Miami Dolphins are a slightly better team than the Houston Texans, but this is going to be a close one, and I'm not going to risk it with the spread or the total points. I'm just going to take the Miami Dolphins at their money line.
Next up, we see the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chargers, coming off of back-to-back losses against the Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots, now head to Philadelphia where they take on the reeling Eagles. The Eagles just coming off of that incredible performance where they just routed the Detroit Lions, the winless Detroit Lions at that. But nonetheless, the Chargers are coming in off of a slump. The Eagles coming off of that high win. I'm taking the Chargers at -2, and this is my lock of the week. I believe this is a get-right game for the Chargers. Mike Williams is going to have himself a day. I think he's going to get back on track. Keenan Allen is going to continue where he left off last week, and you're going to see a lot of Austin Eckler in this one. He is going to absolutely pound the defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles, who almost traded away Fletcher Cox. He hasn't forgotten about that. I believe at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to suffer from not being able to move on this defense, and the Los Angeles Chargers are going to be able to put up points. I'm taking the -2. Lock it in.
Wow. Yeah, in our next matchup, we've got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, and boy, how this has changed. The Chiefs are now 7.5-point favorites with the total points of 48. This game is really dependent on whether Davante Adams plays or not for me. If he is not playing, I'm completely staying away from this matchup, but if he is playing, I really like the Packers at +7.5 points because Jordan Love is a guy that no one has film on. We just saw Mike White for the Jets absolutely obliterate the Cincinnati Bengals because of that reason. Jordan Love had plenty of reps with this first team in the preseason, in training camp, because Aaron Rodgers was not around. Jordan Love knows how to play with these guys. The Packers defense is playing much better than people want to give him credit for, and the Chiefs are unable to do anything. So I think that if Davante Adams is playing, I believe in Jordan Love and this offense. They will be able to put up points, and you're safe taking them at that +7.5 point spread. Otherwise, if Davante Adams is out, definitely stay away from this matchup.
Nick, have you ever seen a game where the point spread was -7.5, +7.5? News breaks, and then all of a sudden the pluses and the minuses just change. I've never seen that before, and that's what we saw in this one because the Packers were actually 7.5 point favorites going into this game, and then obviously Aaron Rodgers lying to the media about his COVID vaccine and not being able to play. I just thought it was interesting. Have you ever seen that? Do you recall?
Never. And we just live in such unique times right now. Things are so different from anything we've ever seen. It doesn't really faze me at this point.
Yeah, no, 100%. But another team that played on Thursday night last week that's struggling, the Arizona Cardinals taking on their intra-division rival, the San Francisco 49ers. This is going to be a tough matchup. The NFC West plays very tough against each other, and the Arizona Cardinals are looking hella suspect right now. You're talking about Kyler Murray, who could possibly miss this game with an ankle injury. You're looking at DeAndre Hopkins possibly missing. AJ Green is going to be out of this one. You're missing half of your productive offense, and you're relying on James Conner, Chase Edmonds, and Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk to get you some solid points here. I don't foresee that being the case. They are 1.5 point underdogs going into San Francisco in this one. I like the San Francisco 49ers. Right now, I think you have to monitor the injury situation with the Cardinals. If Kyler plays, you take the Cardinals at +1.5. If Kyler doesn't play, you stay away from this game. Just like you talked about, Nick, I think you have to really monitor this situation. This is a tough one to really figure out. It's all based on Kyler Murray right now. He's the difference maker. He is the X factor in this one. If he plays, take them at +1.5. If he doesn't, stay away.
And for our Sunday Night Football matchup, the Tennessee Titans, the Derrick Henry-less Tennessee Titans, take on the Los Angeles Rams with new acquisition Von Miller. Oh, I feel bad for Ryan Tannehill. It's going to be a rough matchup. And, Vegas agrees with me. They have the Rams as a 7.5 point favorite with a 54-point over-under. And that's where I'm staring right now. I know the Rams are going to win, so you can take them at their money line. It's a little iffy on the spread. But I think that the best odds really come at the under 54-point total. I think that this is going to be a lopsided victory, and I think it's going to be fairly low scoring. I think that you could see something like a 24-7 victory for the Rams. I'm definitely taking the under on this matchup.
The under is interesting for sure, but I'm not exactly sure 24-7 is what we're staring at, but who knows? Right now, you know what? I agree with you on the under, but I want to move over to our Monday Night Football matchup, the final matchup of Week 9, where we see the Chicago Bears, take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bears come in as 6-point underdogs with an over-under set at 40. 40 points! That is the lowest over-under I've seen in a long time. Right now, the Chicago Bears are reeling. Justin Fields can't really figure out this offense. Allen Robinson, don't know why he wasn't traded, but apparently he's still there. Cole Kmet seems to be like the most viable option that they have on the offensive side of the ball, outside of possibly Khalil Herbert. If he plays, he's still injured, may not play in this one, so that's a rough go for them already. Pittsburgh Steelers, they're still trying to figure out what post-Juju Smith-Schuster life is like. They're trying to figure out how Mapletron and Deontay Johnson are going to get into this mix. They're going to really figure out Najee Harris, getting him involved in both the pass and the run game. I like the Steelers. I'm going to take them at their money line. I don't know if they can cover by 6 points. They beat the Cleveland Browns by 5, and if you had taken them by 6, you obviously were in trouble. So I'm going to take the Steelers at the money line. I think you play it safe on Monday Night Football. They're obviously going to beat the Bears. There's not really a question in my mind about that one. It's about by how much, and I'm not certain on 6 points. Take them at their money line.
Yeah, I agree. This one could be a total toss-up. We don't know what we're getting out of the Chicago offense, even though they have been fairly lackluster. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense is very volatile themselves, and Justin Fields could run all over them for all we know if TJ Watt doesn't have a stellar game. So, yeah, I agree with you. You are safe taking the Steelers at their money line.
All right, well, I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of our bets. Let us know which bets you place based on our predictions. And I want to hear from you guys. If you make any money, let us know in the comments down below. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.